on duty from the state of Minnesota, the country of Ireland, and an avid follower in Canada. So I'd like to have a shout out to those folks. I was just on our chat page, family-friendly chat page, about 10 minutes ago and told them what we were going to do. So here's what we're going to do. We have Ted, our largest bear, out. And obviously those of you on the deck can see Ted. He's our 17-year-old male, and for the PTZ driver, he is at the swing area for the driver. As I said, he is our largest bear here in the North American Bear Center, and the other bear we have out, but we have to find her. Her name is Holly Bear. She is 85 pounds. So we have a 555-pound fella out, and we have an 85-pound little yearling. And we have also one of Holly's human mothers out here, and that's Sharon carrying the bucket, walking right toward me here. Okay, Sharon just talked to me that a holly bear is in a deadfall tree, which is really straight out from you folks on the deck. It'd be between the high falls on the right and the center falls. Watch where Sharon goes. She's going to go to the deadfall. She was watching Ted Bear. And you say, well, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that in the wild, a larger bear trees a yearling. Yearlings spend a lot of time of their first year, the first year away from their mother in trees, trying to navigate the woods from the bigger bears. It's typically the females that will do that. Will tree the little yearlings. And what we have here now for the PTZ driver, if you're either watching Sharon, who is at the tree line, or Ted right here by the logs eating watermelon. Watermelon is one of his favorites, and we actually have a little strategy going here. The strategy being, we're trying to occupy Ted. We want him out. We actually want Holly to see him, and we want Holly is out. I'm going to talk quieter. Holly is near Sharon, and Sharon actually has a bottle. Yes, it's a baby bottle. And why are we feeding her a baby bottle? It's got man-made formula that replicates the milk that she would get from her natural mother. Why are we doing that? We're doing it for two reasons. Number one, she had a little skin condition, and we think it may have been due to maybe a few lack of vitamins and what have you. So we're giving her a rather rich formula with some vitamins to help her little skin and her coat situation. We wouldn't have to give it to her in a bottle. We could give it to her in something else. But the bottle actually causes bonding with humans. She's now a captive bear and will be for the rest of her life. What's important with Holly is that she learns to trust the people that are here, the people that are going to care for her, and she has to become comfortable with us and the habits here at the North American Bear Center, as well as learn to navigate with three larger bears here. So this opportunity of feeding her is an opportunity for her to come to Sharon, know it's safe. Not one of these big bears is going to run at me and try to tree me, which is what would happen in the wild. Not that Ted would do that anyhow. We know Ted. But Holly does not know Ted. When Holly sees Ted, she sees, uh-oh, I better find the biggest tree I can find and climb up it. She doesn't know that Ted actually played a mother role for our 7-year-old male, Lucky, who is not out at the moment. The first time Holly was in the 2.5 acres here was on May 30th. She had 2 of the people she trusted the most with her and a couple other people documenting the event. Sharon is obviously done with the bottle, and she's throwing down one of her favorites. And one of her favorites is peanuts in a shell, unsalted. She actually will reject a in-the-shell salted peanut for an in-the-shell unsalted peanut. She knows the difference. Another favorite of hers is red grapes. Not green, red. Just like all our bears, they will eat green grapes, but definitely prefer red. I have to say, when we've done those little comparisons, I'd have to agree with the bears. I've tasted a couple of the red grapes we gave them. I tasted a couple of the green grapes. I have to admit the red ones were sweeter. Now notice Sharon has actually been touching Holly. Again, that's actually trying to get her to realize that we're not going to hurt her. She's in a safe environment. And if you notice, she's being fed quite a ways away from Ted. Now Ted has just finished his watermelon. And our goal really is to try to keep Ted more in this area than up there, where the little one is. But she has seen Ted, Sharon. She has seen Ted, and Ted's done with his watermelon. I believe she saw Ted get up. I'll tell you a little story about Holly. Holly came to us on December 27th. The dead winter. It was about 10 below that day. We had about 2.5 to 3 feet of snow. We took her up to a denning location. She never saw any of this here. Of course, we had 2.5, 3 feet of snow, and she was actually smaller than she is. She's a couple pounds lighter than she is today. And within about 10 to 12 days, she was hibernating. She came out of hibernation on April 7th, and our best guess on April 10th, which was an estimate, we estimated she weighed about 54 pounds. She came with some ear tags, and we had to anesthetize her briefly to take those ear tags off. At that time, we noticed she had a little infection as well, so we had to deal with a little infection and a skin condition that we had some concerns about. So she was actually in a pen about 20 foot by 20 foot until she was released by the vet to be cleared to come into the 2.5 acres. And her first excursion, as I said, was May 30th. I see Holly. I think you people on the deck can see her very easily. Yeah? Okay. I see some long lenses on some of them cameras. You should be able to get a few pictures of her. For those of you that look at her closely, you'll see her paws her legs are black, and on the back she's kind of shades of some brown. She's clearly going to be black in color, but the lighter color on her back and on her sides that looks a little scruffy, like you want to brush, that's all her undercoat, and that's her winter coat that she is shedding. So it looks and some of it is kind of matted, and that is all going to fall off. And where is she now? The people on the deck, for those of you worldwide, they told me that she scampered right back to her refuge tree, which we call a deadfall, which is just slightly to the left of the large falls, and probably 20 to 30 feet inside the tree line. I want to tell you what she did earlier today all by herself, which was extremely encouraging. Somewhere between 2 and 2:30 this afternoon, I actually missed it. She actually was on top of the waterfalls, the large waterfalls, trying to grab the water. And so she's trying to experience moving water. We have no idea whether she has seen a pond or something like this in her checkered past. We really don't know. So she thought the water was clearly something to play with. And this morning, her first excursion out was she got past what we call the swing. That's that big log held between those two trees with a fire hose. She got further over to the left to a half-dead large white pine tree. It's very large up there, and you see it forked. And the top half is all dead. The bottom half is alive. And that's the largest white pine in the entire 2.5 acres. And that large white pine is significant. We call it Lucky's cub tree. In 2007, Lucky came in July, and it wasn't long that he discovered that as his refuge tree. White pines are an absolute favorite of black bears. Mothers, pregnant females, when they go into the den, they have their cubs in late January. In this area, they'll come out usually sometime in April. This year it was a little bit more, it was more like May because we had a long winter. When the mother comes out with a couple of cubs out of the den, the vast majority of the time, they will walk their cubs to the base of a white pine. The mother knows where the white pine is before she's gone into hibernation. She knows exactly where she's got to walk them to. And why does she walk them to a white pine? Well, if you're ever walking in the woods and you see a white pine, actually really look at the bark. First, the bark does not come off very easy. Unlike a birch tree that can be very slippery, even a red pine. A red pine, they do climb a red pine, but if you try to grab onto a white pine, the bark flakes a little bit, and it makes it hard to climb. So the favorite tree of mothers with cubs and yearlings, like Holly, is a white pine. It was really exciting for us here at the North American Bear Center today that Holly found that white pine. What was interesting about it is Lucky today, who's 7 years old and about 330 pounds, climbed it within the last week, and he likes to sit there. Interestingly enough, Holly found the exact branch Lucky sits on, and she was sitting on it this morning. Very clearly, she knows Lucky's there, has been there. Their sense of smell is exceptional. Their sense of smell is far superior to ours. Their eyesight is better than ours, especially at night. They do see in color. And their hearing is also better than ours, both on the higher frequency and the lower frequency. So if you think you're going to sneak up on a black bear, probably not. Possible, but not real probable. They're more than likely going to either smell you or hear you before you know they're around. If you're walking in the woods and you think you're going to hear them, probably not. We're pretty noisy in the woods. They are very, very, very quiet. Ted is looking around for a few more treats. Ted still does have his winter coat on. Ted figures, you know, when I go on the scale, and that's where he is right now, you know, I usually get a treat. Well, Ted Bear, today's not Tuesday. Tuesday is weigh-in day. And so now it's Friday. You got a couple more days to go, Ted, and then we'll have a weigh-in day. Why do we weigh the bears? We weigh them weekly because we are their major caregiver, and we also control the vast majority of their food. Yes, they do eat the variety of grasses here. We do have berries in this 2.5 acres for them. The white clover, we call that over there, way at the other end, the white clover patch. They love white clover. So there are things in the 2.5 acres for them to eat, but it would not be enough to sustain all of them. So yes, we do have the vast majority of their food. We are their caregivers in that regard. And all 4 of them have little different eating habits, little different peculiarities with what they like and what they don't like. And we try to feed them seasonally, and by that I mean we try to give them foods that they would probably be getting in the wild at this time of the year. Like in late July, they're probably going to get some blueberries because that's pretty much when blueberries start showing up here. And the same with some of the other berries. I want to give another shout out to another fabulous volunteer we got. We got some other representation from across the pond beside Ireland. We got the Netherlands on. That she may be even being the driver of our camera today. I'm not really sure. We've got a lot of volunteers that make these worldwide broadcasts happen. And as I'm talking, they're monitoring a family-friendly chat page that can be accessed on bear.org. And on our home page, right, the center tab says View Cameras. It's a drop-down box, and there's 3 or 4 cameras that you can access. And the one that they are monitoring right now, because they can see me with my hands up right here, is called the PTZ. Pan, tilt, and zoom camera. It can see all the way from the left to all the way over here to the right. And if Holly comes to the tree line, they can actually zoom in on her as well. And while someone is what I call driving the camera, there's usually 1 and sometimes 2 moderators that are fielding questions from people who want to know about black bears, not only about Ted, Lucky, Honey, and Holly, but some of the myths and misperceptions about black bears in general. I want to thank all of you people on the deck. You've been extremely quiet, especially the kids. It's very helpful when you are all quiet, because then everybody gets to enjoy the bears and watch what they do. We're open today until 7 o'clock. We have over 60 videos in our exhibit hall, as well as 2 great BBC documentaries that is playing in our theater. Each of the documentaries are only 1 hour long without commercials. Commercial-free is always nice. And I'd like to thank you people for coming to the Bear Center today. We know that you have a lot of choices in the Ely area for your entertainment, for your learning about the wilderness and the wildlife you may see here. If you want some other opportunities for the wild, you might visit the International Wolf Center. International Wolf Center is open every day. They are at the opposite end of town, approximately 1 mile east. Again, at the other end of town, you are 1 mile west of Ely at the moment. And you have a lot of opportunities for dinner as well tonight. Got a lot of outfitters, resorts. We've got state parks here. We've got trails. We've got all kinds of outdoor activity, canoeing, kayaking, a lot of family-friendly activities. And enjoy your evening. It's a great day. The weather forecast for tomorrow, not so great. I did promise people who were on at 11 o'clock, our earlier broadcast, that I'd give you the weight of holly. Well, I got to backtrack on that a little bit. We were not successful in getting a good weight on her. So I do not have a current weight, but we're going to try to get Holly on the scale here the next couple days and see if she gets all those 4 paws on there and sits still just for a minute. Well, 30 seconds maybe. We can get a weight on her, but our last weight on her was 85 pounds, which is comparable to her peer group if she was in the wild. That's a nice weight for her, and it appears as if she's going to grow up to be really a sweetheart. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today at the Bear Center, and have a nice evening.